what are you particularly proud of when it comes to your company? Like, what's something that you're really either, culture, team, your, values? What are some things you're proud of?
Definitely adhering to our core values. So the first one, setting the standard. We don't want to just meet customers' expectations. We want to exceed them. A lot of times you'll hear in this industry, well, the customer said it looks good enough, right? Or they passed it. Well, it's just like going to a manager at McDonald's, right? And saying, hey, did my taxes look good enough? Oh, yeah, they look good enough. They're not educated in that field. So for allowing our customers to say, yeah, it passes just so we can appease them, collect a check and move on, that's not where we're at. We want to set the standard. We are to be the professionals when we enter in the home or enter in the workspace. We're the ones that's supposed to know what the codes and standards are, not getting that
Hmm.
information from our clients.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Builder's Bible. I'm joined by Josh Richardson, who's a friend of mine from Rise Up Kings. And Josh just underwent surgery, so I'm going to go easy on him today. Um, Josh, you do a mix of commercial and residential, right? It's both. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to pick his brain a bit. So tell us, Josh, how did you start R&R contracting, and tell us a bit of the story.
Well, so I'm a third generation builder. Grew up doing it when I was 8 years old on the job site with my stepdad, who ended up adopting me and my brother and sister when we were, I think I was 14. So married my mom for a while. Real dad wasn't in the picture, and his dad, my stepdad, who became my legal father, was a builder, and I'm pretty sure his dad was a builder as well. But so I've just grown up around it, seeing what worked for my dad, what didn't work. Of course, like any other child, they want to make their own way and not follow in their parents' footsteps and going to go do their own thing. So right after high school, I went into the military, did the college stuff. Said I wasn't ever going to do construction, and a couple of years later, I bought a decorative concrete business, and then that just had me running all over the place. So when I started having children of my own, I had to dial that down a little bit. Our local demographics didn't fit the decorative concrete needs, so went from there. In 07, 08, it was just a down market for any of the residential construction for quite some time in our area. So when I was, let's see, RR's been going for about 8 years. Prior to that, it was Richardson Construction for about 3 or 4 years. So um, it's been an ever evolving beast. My dad and I were partners for a while, and let's just say the company outgrew any of his expectations or what he was willing to take on and to shoulder. So again, you learn from your parents, find out, what works, what doesn't work. And I wanted to grow a company to where I didn't have to be involved in the day to day, that I could go on vacation, know that things were still being done, that I had a team behind me and not everything was reliant on me. There's a lot more freedom to having a team. It does take, obviously some time and effort into building that, but once you get it set, man, it's good for you as the organizational leader to be able to step back and watch people shine and do what they're good at. So, and now we're here. I mean, we've gone from residential heavy, to light commercial, now getting into some multifamily developments and just kind of spreading our wings. So,
So what is the mix between residential and commercial for your company?
um, I'd say, 8 years ago, it was all residential. Probably the last 2 to 3 years, we've been mixing some light commercial in there, maybe, 10 to 90 ratio. This year, it's been closer to a 50-50 on
Hmm.
commercial to residential. And, I'm always looking for those commercial partners because, especially on the repetitive projects, we can become more efficient, build those business to business relationships. And so I'm looking forward to it probably staying a 50-50 mix with all the development projects that we have coming in next year as well. So it's about where we're at.
What when people ask you what makes you guys different, kind of how do you answer that question? Like what's your secret sauce or what makes you unique from other companies that do what you do?
When our local clientele asks us what sets us apart from everyone, one, I can say we've got an office. Everybody else, mostly works out of their truck or a coffee shop or, a public meeting area. I do have an office staff that's very seldom, very rare in our demographic that we serve. We've got somebody here to answer the phone, Monday through Friday. A big thing is we operate off of core values, and our fourth but not least core value is family,
Mm,
which means we work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, no weekends, because we want to make sure that our work is done during a normal business operation. You see a lot of the trades and other contractors, they'll work all hours of the night and weekend, and it's not good. It's not conducive for a good family environment. So
hmm
I make sure my employees are taken care of. They've got paid holidays, they got paid time off, they have benefits. So that's more, I I feel like we've been blending more of the residential and commercial aspects because you get into those bigger commercial companies, they have all those benefits, right? So that's kind of where we've been, is just a blend between the two.
would you mind sharing like overall sales or total gross or something to kind of give the audience a sense of the size of the company?
Um, yeah, I'll kind of give a history. So the first 2 years, we were averaging about 350,000 a year. Um, excuse me. Still, my breathing tube that was in my throat yesterday is affecting my voice. Um, then the third year, after my dad and I had separated, we had doubled. I think we're about the 750, 800 mark. We've been steadily around the 1, 1, 2 the last couple of years. This year, we're projected to do, I think, 3 million. So we've had a huge jump. And then next year, I think on the books, we've got close to um, between two projects, close to 100 million that we'll be managing. So it's going to be huge, those development projects that we'll be overseeing next year.
What are you particularly proud of when it comes to your company? Like what's something that you're really either, culture, team, your, values? What are some things you're proud of?
Um, Definitely adhering to our core values. So the first one, setting the standard. We don't want to just meet customers' expectations. We want to exceed them. A lot of times you'll hear in this industry, well, the customer said it looks good enough, right? Or they passed it. Well, it's just like going to a manager at McDonald's, right? And saying, hey, did my taxes look good enough? Oh, yeah, they look good enough. They're not educated in that field. So for allowing our customers to say, yeah, it passes just so we can appease them, collect a check and move on, that's not where we're at. We want to set the standard. We are to be the professionals when we enter in the home or enter in the workspace. We're the ones that's supposed to know what the codes and standards are, not getting that
Hmm.
information from our clients. So setting the standard, communication. We've used Build-A-Trend software for I think 4 or 5 years now, and before that it was Co-Construct. That was a game changer for us, using a customer forward facing software that we can use internally to help us communicate with our subs, set our schedules, track our job costing performance, and being able to present daily logs and photos and customer forward-facing information that they can access at any time. Even after the project's complete, they can go back through and look at the progress photos, see what the transformation was. So, and then the transparency on the billing and invoicing. They see it. They see where it came from on the estimate. They see where it came through on the invoice. if we have any change orders, that happens immediately. That doesn't happen at the end of the job. So the customer's involved on the decision-making process. It's their project, so we don't want to just do something that we think that they might like and hope they like. They're involved on that decision-making process. I hear a lot where other tradespeople around here will wait to hold those change orders until the very end and then have this huge surprise bill. And clients will typically not pay it. It'll end up in litigation. It's not a good ending to a story, whether their
Hmm.
quality was good, whether their timeline was good. The financial is a huge aspect. So then respect, that is our third one. Uh, we treat each home as it's our home, and I even tell some of our younger employees, I said, you probably need to treat it better than you treat your own home. I'm assuming they're still the young single guys that a lot of times that probably have the room a mess because I can see the way they keep their vehicles. So I say you even need to respect it more than your home. That's the way we leave it at the end of the day. That's how we talk and act, the music that we have going on during the day, no vulgar language, anything like that. So, and then family, I already hit on that, but that's a huge thing. So we build a family atmosphere here within our team. Um, so we can all love each other one day and we can all not see eye to eye the next, but we all show up, ready to do our job. So I would say, that in and of itself explains what I'm the most proud about is everyone upholding those values, centering around those values, and coming together as a team just to do what we've got to do.
I love that. What are some things that you feel like are not going well? Some sticking points or things you're trying to overcome?
Um, so you've been dealing with Remy. I think that's one thing that we've had. We've had some marketing guys in the past. We've thrived off of word of mouth. I'll team up with some of these bigger contractors and sub out some stuff for them, partner up with them, try to help them. That's a more cold calling aspect. We're out seeking some of these bigger developers and have developed some relationships with some big players, but um, definitely the marketing. I had my daughter doing that before she went off to college, so she was in charge of all of our social media, and that was probably the best that we've had it as far as engagement and consistency in posting. Now that she's in college, that's all dwindled off. The ironic thing is, she's going to school for graphic design and marketing. So I'm waiting for her to learn a few things herself and maybe team up with Remy to start being stronger in that area. Um, and then I'd say the other pain point, and you and I have discussed this, is just finding good quality candidates that want to grow with your company, that can get behind your vision. And having 80 employees that has gone through this organization in the last 12 years between Richardson Construction and RR Contracting. Um, I've had several 5-year employees. I've got a couple 3+ year employees with me right now. But it's hard to make your dream and their dream integrate. And especially if they're coming in and say, man, this is a career that I want. This is what I want to do. I want to come in and learn what I can. And then you put them in some situations that they've never thought about or, um, and they're just like, no, this isn't for me. So a lot of times people are coming in ignorantly saying, this is my career, this is what I want to do. And then they get their hands on and they're like, oh, you mean you have to do this or you have to go there where, I have to work outside in inclement weather that's, it's not uncomfortable. So, and it takes time, but just continuing to feed through that pipeline of getting some good quality candidates and keeping some longevity employees.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about AI for a second. How are you using it currently, or where do you feel like it's affecting or changing your industry?
Um, so we have I I I was totally against AI, right? We hear about all the negative things about how it's going to take over the world, and we're gonna be so reliant on it, and it's this evil monster, right? Well, if you look at technology, people said that years ago when we first got the internet, when we first got computers. Oh, it's an evil thing, and the way I look at it is if you are using it to become more efficient, um, to help set foundations and platforms, and not just be 100% reliant on it, then it's a good tool. So we'll use it to help us with our SOPs for the field crew and things, I can get it to go through and do this whole SOP. This is how we install. This is how we approach this. This is how we troubleshoot. And then I can even have it pull videos off of YouTube, and give me clips of, yep, this is a good visualization to how we expect things to be done and the manner it needs to be done in. So it has been huge on helping us write scopes. I have estimating software, and I know you and I have had some of these discussions as well, but I have an estimating software that will kind of give an abbreviated scope. And then I'll take that over to chat and I'll say, hey, write me a summary for the scope. So I'm not sitting there having to type up and tell the customer everything we're doing. I already have
Hmm.
it. I'm just having it reword everything and putting it in more of a formalized way rather than expecting them to read line by line by line on our estimate details.
Yeah.
Um, even when it comes to my office manager needing to do SOPs for the office, um, if she's got questions, with QuickBooks or has something off, she can have it review it. And so we've integrated some of the AI. I know it's become a, a time saver for sure. But one thing I will say is making sure that you've got the human oversight and review it and make sure before you implement it. Uh,
Yeah.
I had a buddy that is doing like this pastoring counseling type program, and he relied on AI to write him a post and didn't review it. And it gave a lot of personal information about a current local situation that he was with. And the pastor knew what it was. It didn't name names, but it was give enough information that the pastor that not the pastor he was counseling his youth pastor. So the head pastor contacted him and was like, what in the world are you doing? So it can get you in trouble if you're just being lazy with AI. You still have to put effort into it. So that's just kind of how we've integrated so far.
Last question. You and I know each other through Rise Up Kings. I always like to give a plug. How has it changed your life and business?
Oh man. Well, definitely putting you at a table with like-minded men, right? We all have to have someone spurring us on in the right direction, giving us good encouragement. Um, the A lot of the Tuesday morning calls that we get is just full of so much information. Sometimes it's too much, right? When you hear something good, at least me, I can read these books and I can go to uh, these masterminds, and I'm just eating it all up, right? And I want to change it all now.
Hmm.
But I've had to slow down because I go to these conferences and I do all this stuff and come back with all this knowledge, and I'm fired up and my team knows what to expect when I come back from a conference. But I've tried to just sit back and chew on it a little bit before I go balls to the wall with all these implementations.
Yeah.
It's been a good sounding board getting in with these guys that, are years ahead of you, or maybe, being able to share some wins that you have to help somebody that's years behind you. And we can get a lot of different um, influence. We can get a lot of different suggestions in our business, but if they're not Christ-centered, um, we could go astray in how we lead our companies, right? We can get too greedy, or we can get more self-centric and worried about what was best for us rather than what's best for our clients. So I definitely, the biblical background that Rise Up Kings has and the men that are there, I trust and would adhere a lot more to their suggestions than I would, just business people. So,
Josh, if people want to learn more about who you are and what you do, where can they go?
they can catch me on my Facebook. So I have two of them, one for the business and one for my personal. You can reach out to us at rrcontractingllc.com and follow us on Instagram at rrbuildsmo. And give us a call. I mean, all the information's on our website to get a hold of me. So
awesome. Well, thanks for spending time. Don't go anywhere because I want to keep chopping it up, but thanks for coming on the podcast.
okay. Yeah, thank you.